Happy Saturday. Today is Saturday, June 20th. We have about 2 minutes before 2 o'clock, so I'm just getting this ready to go so we can get started on our painting for today. So, hello everyone. Once you start joining in, please comment and say that you're here. I'd love to see that. I like to see who's joining. I have a fan going in the background. Tell me if it's too loud. If it is, I will move it further away and hopefully it won't interfere with us talking. My air conditioning is not very strong in this house. I have to follow one of those calls for the duct cleaning, I think, next time instead of just ignoring them. All right, I'm gonna just bring up the image on my laptop so I will have it ready for us to recreate. Hope you guys are all doing really great today. All right, so today we're gonna be doing this painting, Key to the Garden. So I suggest you guys have this picture available to you. We have it on our painting party site, so just grab it and just have it like maybe on another screen or somewhere close by so you can refer to it as we're going through this. Some of us are going to work faster and slower than others, so that will just be helpful so we can all see what we're looking at. All right. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for joining. Hi, Susie. Hi, Matthew. Hey, Alex. Awesome. Glad to see you guys all here. Fantastic. So we're going to get started in just a moment. So I just have that going in the background. Like I said, my fan is going in the back. If it's too loud, just let me know in the comments, and then I'll figure out another option. It's a little warm in here today. I need to tie my hair up, that's for sure. All right, I'm going to get that going. And then the canvas I'm using today is a canvas board. It's a little bigger than my usual one. I'm excited for this painting, so I wanted it to be a bit bigger. It's this one's an 11 by 14 canvas board, so it's very thin, primed, ready to go. I didn't prime it, just the way it came out of the package is how I'm using it. And then we have the paints. So I got blue, yellow, red, white, and black. So those are the main ones that I'm going to be using. Behind it, I also have some pre-mixed color just in case. So if you have pre-mixed color, that's cool too. So I have like green and orange and pink and brown and purple. I may or may not rely on it, so you can feel free to do that as well. I also have my water container ready to go, and I have some paintbrushes. So I got a nice big brush, a bit of a medium one, and a fine brush as well. So we got that going on. Hey everyone. Hi Dara. Thanks for joining. Hi Lucy. Awesome. Hey Jen. Hi Lisa. Fantastic. Okay, great. Lots of Toronto. Makes sense. I'm in Ajax. It's all like local-ish. We'll see if anyone, I know last week we had someone I think from Pakistan join, which was really cool. So yeah, let me know when you guys are jumped in and we will get started. I'm going to start to put some paint on my canvas in a moment. I'm going to assume you guys are cool with my fan because no one said anything yet, so that's cool because I will stay cool if that's cool. All right, and we're going to be getting started just momentarily. I'm going to give it another like 2 to 3 minutes just in case anyone else wants to join us. So you're going to watch me put my hair up now. It's very exciting for you, I'm sure. All right, and then we'll get started. This painting will take, I would say, I'm gonna say it's gonna take us about 2 hours, realistically. Knowing me, I'm gonna want to do some details, and I know some of you guys who've joined me in the past, you guys like to do like some details and kind of get into it too, like I do. So I'll guide you through the way I would approach it. Again, this is our interpretation, so it will be your own image. So mine, it's not going to look exactly like the inspiration image. It might have a little bit of tweaks to it, and that's cool. And that's what you guys should do too. So if you want to put like mushrooms instead of flowers, do it up. If you want to change the color of the trees, make it fall, go crazy, like have fun with it and do what you like and share what you're doing. Hi Marion. This one, I'm doing this one in a portrait. So that's how I'm using my canvas today. Because I like that keyhole shape. I think that's going to look really cool in a portrait. But again, you can change it up if you have another idea. So yeah, so we'll play with that today. And I'm going to grab a bit more yellow because mine's a bit low. 1 second. All right, there we go. I'll grab some more yellow so we're good to go. All right, and so with this painting, like with all paintings that we're taking a look at, or even if it's a photo, we always want to start with whatever's furthest in the background first. So in this particular painting, it's the sky. So the sky, we're still gonna, it's almost like two paintings in one, really. So let me just show you. Okay, so this is the inspiration image. So we're gonna start with whatever's furthest back. So this kind of blue sky. I'm gonna try to do it as close as this is possible. So I'll try and keep the color scheme and the way it looks so you guys can get that interpretation. I might do some differences because I can't help it. So we're going to start with that background of that blue sky. And then from there we're going to build the green of the trees. And then we're going to put the detailing on the trees. Next step after we do that, and I'll go through it as we're going through obviously, then we're going to do the bottom part. So we're going to get the greenery going on. Pop in this fence. And then we're going to put the flowers and stuff that go above the fence. And then at the last thing we're going to do is actually do the keyhole. So that'll be the very last thing we do, is the keyhole, and then obviously the vines and all the decoration and everything else around there. So that's my thought process and how we're going to approach this today. Hopefully that helps you guys. And again, I'll walk you through it, so no stresses. Why won't it go live? I don't know that exactly, because I am live and I think you guys are all good to go, so I'm not sure what that means exactly. Sorry, Rita. Lisa, I have a black primed canvas. Is it gonna work fine, or should I go white? Doing 23 by 31. Okay, it's gonna be big, so so anything that I say, you wanna make sure you have more paint than I do every time. Black would look really cool. I don't know though, I feel like I might want to save that black primed canvas for like maybe another image, because you're going to cover this all with paint. Some of the colors may not pop as much on the black. I don't know, it might look kind of cool, but you might end up using more paint to get the color to pop on the black. So I don't know, I think I would probably want to save that. And you know the other image that we had that was kind of more a black kind of like landscape shape with that kind of vibe, I think I would want to use it for something like that more. But yeah, sorry, it's kind of up to you of how you think. That's what my approach was. I think you're going to use a lot of paint to cover the black and get the colors to pop. Hi Andrew, I'm doing well, thank you. It's so nice today, it's very warm, so hopefully I won't get overheated on this. And I'm wearing a shirt, so you guys shouldn't be able to see any sweat, but no guarantees. Hi Shamil. Hiruki, where is that? Where is Hiruki? I want to know where that is. I'm not familiar. That's exciting. If you say Ontario, I'm going to be a little disappointed, to be honest. I'll be like, oh, it sounds so exotic. It doesn't sound like Ontario. Cool. What? Washington. Awesome. Hi, Laura. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are joining. Oh, okay. You have 2-liter paint bottles, then you'll be good. That's good. That's just what I'd be worried about, is just having to put too much to get it to pop. Oh, your names. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I thought because your name said, well, on the thing it says Shyamali, so I thought that was your name, and then Hiruku was like where you're from. Okay, sorry about that. Hi. Awesome. Hi, Amanda. You and your 6-year-old here. Oh, fantastic. Oh, watercolor is fantastic. So Alex, who's on here as well, she does all of our acrylics. She does her interpretation in watercolors. I would strongly suggest you go back and take a look at some of our previous lives and look at them. It's really cool. Watercolors are kick-ass. I haven't got into it too much. Sorry, I'll try not to say any other weird, inappropriate words. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get started getting some paint on my canvas, and we're going to get started from here. It's your mom's name. That makes sense. All right. Hi, Asif. How are ya? I'm glad you're joining today. And Rita's just getting a frozen screen. I think that might be your connection though, hun. I think that might be an issue. I'm using my phone, and this has been the best way for me to connect. I was using my laptop before, and it was not our friend. So if anyone else having issues, let us know, but it must be Facebook or something. I blame Facebook. All right. Okay, cool. So we're going to get started. I'm going to pop some paint on my canvas, and we're going to go from there. You're in Mississauga. See, I work in Mississauga. Well, I work from home, but my office is in Mississauga. I prefer not to drive there from Ajax, because normally on the 401 it can take like 2 hours, where it really should maybe take 40 minutes. But we love the 401. I'm actually really happy that I haven't had to go, well, right now I'm laid off, so that's not so good. But I'm happy not to have to drive anymore for, what, 3 months now? It's been nice. Alright, so I'm just popping some colors on my canvas. I'm putting the yellow, the red, the blue. I'm probably not going to use the red right away, but I like to have them all available in case I like to dip around. When using acrylic, so anyone who's using acrylics for the first time, if you're not as familiar with them, acrylic can dry really quickly. So just keep that in mind when you're putting on your palette. If you're putting too much paint, it might already dry before you even get to that point. So just keep that in mind as you're going. You might just want to put a little bit less and then add more. If you have a bigger canvas, you're going to want to use quite a bit more paint. Okay, so we're going to get started. So what I want to start off with, actually, now I feel like that fan is driving me crazy because it's way louder than what I'm used to. I'm just going to turn my music a little down because I feel like I can't concentrate. Okay, there we go. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I want to decide kind of where I want that shape of that keyhole to be, because that will allow me to just kind of focus on getting the sky in the background in the areas that we're going to be able to see. You're still going to want to make sure you paint that out further than wherever your keyhole is going to be, because you want to make sure that the image continues and doesn't just stay right in the center, right? So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to use my yellow paint just very lightly to kind of draw out where I want that keyhole to live. So in this particular painting, the middle of the keyhole is just above the center of your canvas. So it's kind of about there. You can just eyeball it. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're just gonna, you're gonna paint over this. So this is like literally like if you've got a pencil and you're just drawing and you're gonna erase it, because we're gonna end up painting over this, okay? This is just to give you an idea of how you wanna center your image. Okay, so we're going to kind of do this like circular. I'm just dipping my paint into water too, just to my brush, just to get it a little bit easier to spread. So I think. Okay, I'm not showing you my canvas. I'm sorry. There you go. That's what I'm doing. Okay. See my head the whole time. That's not very helpful. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball it, and then we're just gonna come down. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just giving the idea of where we want that keyhole to live. So when we paint our garden, we have an idea of how that's gonna be. Okay. Okay, so I think, I like this side a little bit more than this side. It's a little bit weirdly up there. I'm gonna just make it a bit more, build it out a little bit. I think that's a little better. I want it to be pretty even on both sides, so just kind of like stand back a little bit from it until you get it the way you like it. Okay. And you bring it down, so the base, you kind of have a lip, just like a little bit at the bottom there. And then just bring the angles up to the middle, and then you just have the circle. And again, this is, you don't have to worry about it being perfect. You can always change it up that way. There you go. Okay. Asif, can you see it now? So now we can kind of, hopefully you can see that. So that's just going to be the frame of what we're going to paint within. Okay, so now that I got that going, I didn't make it too, so it's already dry to the touch, most of it. I don't put too much paint, because we're just going to paint over that. anyways. Okay. So if anyone's having issues or if it's freezing up, I suggest closing out the live and then coming back in and seeing if that might help. We're still going to be here, so it's all good. And if you miss something or anything, once it's all done, you can always go back and see, but we're just going to start putting in the sky right now, so it's not going to be too crazy, okay? All right. So for the sky, this is a very like light blue sky. Okay, so we're going to get some blue and some white. Okay, I'm just gonna mix it on my palette briefly. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of blue and white together just to get the vibe of that sky that I want. And I'm just gonna start putting it in. And this can go over what I just painted. That's totally fine. It should kind of do that because we want our sky to continue past the confines of the keyhole in which we're peering. Okay, so I kind of mix that blue, like a light blue, so I don't want to use the full-on blue, and I'm just taking pure white and I'm just bringing it in and then just bringing it down. And my brush still has the original color I painted on, so when I move it, it kind of comes out, and then that's going to give me a bit of automatic blending that's happening. The white's going to blend in and it's going to look very natural and kind of cool. You guys see that okay? Alright. Hi Kaylee! Glad you're stopping in. How are the kids doing? I'll try to keep my eye on the comments. It becomes a little tricky when I get into my paintings. I kind of forget to look sometimes. So bear with me. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this down further than what I would want. Really the sky kind of is just in the middle, and then the trees kind of take over more of it. So I'm just going to bring it down a little bit just in case my trees end up having, they're a bit spottier than my sky. So I'm kind of liking the way the sky is feeling. It kind of has some nice cloudy effects. You can always pop it in and have a bit more of like a cloudy feel if you want to get white and you want to just dab a bit. Again, your trees are going to cover a lot of this, but you can kind of make it a bit more like puffy by doing that. Or you can keep it more of a streaky look. It's really up to you. I think I'm kind of liking this, building some white. So the way I'm doing that, I'm just putting white paint on and then I'm just like dabbing it into the wet background, and it's kind of just giving me a bit of a cloudy vibe. Up here my paint's already dried a bit, so I'm not going to, it's not going to blend the same way, which kind of works. It kind of looks good like that. Okay, so I got some clouds going on in the sky. Much better than the other clouds. We did another one recently, like a pink cloud sky. I'm not a fan of the way my clouds turned out on that one, I gotta say. Not a fan. But happy you guys were there. And I love the suggestions that you guys brought in. It was fantastic. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a few, feeling those, they're kind of cool looking. Okay, so there you go. There's some clouds in that blue sky. Let's see. Okay, awesome. Okay, we're good. So before I put in my trees, I do want this to dry a bit because otherwise it will all kind of smear, and if we put the green on there, it might not turn out the way we want to. So I want to wait until that's pretty dry. But I do still want to start continuing, so I'm thinking I'm going to start a little bit lower and get some of the green background going in here. So I'm going to use my same brush, but I'm just going to wipe it down a bit. Every time I put in the water, I just dab off the excess water because I don't want it to be super wet. Sometimes that can work really nicely depending on the technique that you're using. Okay. So Rita, if you're frozen, I suggest you you just get out of the live and then come back in, do like a refresh, and then do it that way. That's what I would suggest. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not technical when it comes to that. Worst case is when it's done, then I think you can watch the live after. I'm not sure. I think it's a connection problem. I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna mix some yellow and some blue. Okay, and I'm just going to, on my canvas, sorry, I should try to show you. One day, again, I'm not technical, so I don't have multiple cameras. It's just me in my room doing this. Okay, so I'm just gonna get kind of like a green going with the yellow and the blue. I'm just bringing them together until I get kind of a color that I like. When you mix colors together, if you want it to be a bit lighter, just put a bit more yellow into it. If you want it to be a bit darker, you can put the blue into it. You can obviously go and put a bit of white or black to darken or lighten it. I'm always very hesitant on that. I like to usually mix those on the actual canvas. Okay, that's already getting good. So I'm gonna start popping in the green background, and this is just gonna give the idea of there being like foliage, okay? So don't get too worried about how it looks, because things on top of it is going to make that pop and come out more, okay? So I'm just gonna start putting this in, getting some of these colors going. So it's gonna come about like there-ish. Okay. So just, and I'm gonna just kind of dab it on just to make it feel more like shrubbery. Okay. And as I'm going, I might just glop on some yellow, and then that kind of then mixes and it kind of brings me a different value, the green. And just have fun with it and just bring it up into the sky. As I'm going from this area into the sky, I am gonna just keep putting a bit of yellow on my brush and bring that up. So I want my trees at the top to kind of have a more of a yellowy top to them. Okay. Or the shrubbery, I guess. It'll look lighter at the top, but I'm gonna use yellow to make it lighter. That's what I'm trying to say. So there we go. And I'm just dabbing it, and like I said, it's a bit lighter at the top, it's darker around the bottom there. So it kind of has that idea of some, lots of greenery happening. I'm just gonna bring this down a little bit further. Let's see. I might actually bring it down maybe till about here. I might bring this down so it's kind of like wherever the gate is going to, the bottom of the gate is going to be. So I am going to do that actually. So we're going to continue this kind of green blottiness down here until wherever you think the gate, wherever you want the gate to start. And mine's going to be about here, okay? Because then when we put in the white gate, it's going to pop. Again, the really great thing about acrylics is that it will dry quickly. So once it dries fully, we can put a light color like white right on top, and it will be awesome. You'll be able to see it really beautifully, and it'll come out and it'll pop right on your canvas. Okay, so again, I just put some yellow into it because I want it to be, I do want it to be a bit darker, but I just wanted to play with some of the values in it. So again, you can do the same thing. If you want it a bit darker, I'm getting a little bit of blue now, and I'm just like dabbing it in, and I'm just like deciding if I like the color the way it is or not. And again, this is just background. You're gonna put stuff on top of it, so don't stress too much. You're not really gonna be seeing this very specifically. This is not the focus. This is literally the background. Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks for helping each other, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay. And I'm just gonna bring it over where I want my keyhole to be. Just a line. just in case I end up it being a little bit further. Okay, cool. All right, so there is my green foliage stuff happening for now. Okay. And then, so because of the way I did it, it kind of, maybe because of the fan too, perhaps, it's already starting to dry quite a bit. So I'm just showing you close up, like kind of just like how the values look. It just looks like it's just going to be a background. So again, don't stress. Just a background, just have different values, have it a little bit lighter, a little bit darker. It'll look cool. You can put something on top of it anyways. So it's already very dry in some areas already. So I kept my brush very dry. So there's paint, but not a heck of a lot. And I dabbed it. For someone using a larger canvas, and like Lisa, you're gonna have to work with a larger brush. So I'm using like a medium one. You might want to get a larger brush, and you'll be able to cover more of the canvas faster. Again, when it's acrylic, it's gonna dry fast. So if you're using a bigger canvas, you kind of have to use bigger brushes and work quickly to still get the similar effects. Yeah, that's the love-hate relationship of it. Okay, so now I want to put in where I want the branches and the trees to live. And again, I'm going to kind of follow what it looks like in the image, but we're going to play with it a bit too, and you can change it up however you so desire. So the branches, they look very black, they're very dark. If you only have the colors, like we said, if you have brown, use brown, or darken that up, because that'll be the easiest way. If you're gonna mix colors together, you can mix kind of like a red and a blue, and that will create like a really dark, like purple. And then we're gonna add, even if I just grab some yellow, okay, and then we're gonna kind of get like a gunky color. And I'm gonna use this for my tree trunk. I'm gonna probably put a little bit of black in it too. So I'm kind of getting, sorry, I don't know if you can see my gunky color. That's my gunky color. So it's already kind of a brown. I think it's your connection, Rita. I think something's up with it. I'm sorry. Maybe once the video's done, maybe you could watch it. I'm sorry if you can't participate it right now. That really sucks. So I'm putting a little bit of black in it. And that really darkened it up very quickly. Black, a little bit of black goes a long way. Let's just be cognizant of that. Okay. So I just have like kind of like a, almost like a charcoal-y, like it's a very dark color. Okay. And I just want my brush to go very smooth on the canvas. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of water into that. Depending how your paint is, if you're already using paint that's very, viscose, like very like easy to drag, then you don't really need to put that much water. If you don't, you want to put some water. Okay, so let's put in some trees. So one of my trees is going to be a big old stump that's going to come kind of from here, and just do it. Like just get it and do it, and then don't be scared. Wherever the tree lands is where it's meant to live. And then I'm just going to go back over and then thicken it up a bit and make it more opaque, because that was definitely not opaque. And this one's gonna go right off, like it's gonna start and end off of where the keyhole is. So it can be pretty thick, it can be thinner, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm gonna put more greenery on that once I've planted where I want. Once I've planted my trees. That's kind of what I want to say, yeah. There we go. Okay. Okay. And this one's gonna have a little stem coming here. And another one over here. And yeah, maybe I'll have another one here. And maybe we'll see them once I put the greenery on, and maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll see, won't we? Okay, so that's one of my trees. My other one's gonna live here. Just gonna stick that there. This is gonna be a bit curvier. Oof, that got a little thick. If it gets thick, don't worry. It was meant to be thick. If it's too thick, it's okay, because again, you can, when we put some leaves and stuff on top of it, it won't look as chunky. Okay. So that one's gonna be there. And this one, we're gonna have another one that's gonna be here, and this is gonna come down. This is gonna be below the fence, like that. And I'm always kind of putting some more water and some more paint on my brush every time I do a new stroke. I've been trying to, whenever my brush kind of feels like it needs it, so just, that will make it smoother. And some branches are kind of scraggly, and some of them are very straight along. Even on the same tree. That's cool. So play with it. This garden can be anything you want it to be. Like, it's your own place, so don't stress about it if it's not going exactly the way you want. You just need to let go of it and enjoy it. Enjoy the process. There's going to be another tree coming from the side here. Okay. Up, and it's going to come down. Oh, I have another offshoot. I guess that's meant to be. There we go. Okay. Get some little nubbies on these for fun. Okay. And there's another one that's going to be here. Again, it's going to kind of go off, so the keyhole is. And this one. There we go. Okay. So it's kind of emulating what we have in the picture slightly. There's slight differences. Okay. Hope you guys can see that all right. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry as well. Again, this one's already kind of dry. This big thicker one is already it's already been a bit dry. So I might start playing, well, I will start playing with the leaves on there. Okay, so let me just show you. I don't know if that helps if I'm showing it a bit closer. They got some trees. Okay. And again, maybe in your secret garden, there's no trees and there's like a dragon or something. You can do whatever you want. So paint whatever you like. It does not have to be the same. You can put a bird in the tree. You can do whatever you want. Just have fun with it. Okay. I think I'm going to use my medium-sized brush again. Yeah, I'm going to use my medium size. The other thing too with your paintbrushes and the acrylic, you need to make sure that if you are not using a brush, like if you're switching a brush, don't leave it in the paint or don't leave with paint on it, because the paint will dry. If the acrylic paint dries fully on the brush, that brush is going to be it's done. Like, you can't use it anymore. Again, trying to watch my words. Yeah, so it'll be gone. So don't do that unless you like to buy things and you want a reason to buy more stuff. I am cheap, so I try not to do that. Okay, I'm gonna start putting in some of the green on top of this one here. So like I said, with the acrylic paint, like that blue and yellow that I mixed before with the green's already dry, so I can't even use that anymore because that dries that fast. So I'm gonna mix a little bit more of that, but I want it to be a bit more yellowy. So I'm still gonna have my blue and my green. Sorry, my blue and my yellow is what I meant to say. If you have a pre-mixed green, you can accomplish the same thing by having your green, and you can add yellow to lighten it up. You can also add white to lighten it up, but I prefer the yellow approach because I feel like that kind of becomes more natural, because the leaves leaves never go from white to green. It's always like yellow to green or green to yellow. So it just feels more natural. I think this is a good color. If I don't like it, we'll change it. Okay, and similar approach, I'm gonna just add some leaves. I'm gonna like go pop, 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 and just dab it on where I want some more foliage to be. Okay, so let's do it. And yes, I do stop a bit because I do get nervous and I don't want it to mess up. Okay, and I still want my branches to come out a bit. I want to be able to see them still. So when I first start, there's a lot of paint on my brush. So wherever I dab, I want it to, that's where I want it to cover it more. Okay, and then as I continue, there's less paint on my brush. So if I want more, I'm like turning my brush around as I'm going. Okay, and I'm just gonna pop this in. So now I have some greenery on that tree. Okay, I want it to come up to the top. I don't know if I want to be able to see that at the top, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's good. Good. And I do want it a little bit lighter. I just put a bit of yellow and I'm just gonna go in again. Each time I go in, I'm just gonna put in a bit of yellow just to lighten some of it up. Just put yellow on my brush. And I'm not putting a heck of a lot, I'm just putting a bit because I don't want it to be a big glob of it. I want it just to touch it. Lighten it up slightly. Cool, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, I'm gonna keep mixing it. So again, mix it as I go on my palette. Put the blue, put the yellow. Now there's quite a bit of globbiness on my brush. Okay, so I'm gonna be conscious of that. And where I glob it, I'm just gonna start with this globbiness. We're gonna bring it up. This tree is more yellow, blue, which I don't like. Okay, we're just gonna. Okay, but I want to make sure I can still see my tree-ish behind there. Same thing on this side. And there's, you know, the trees go further than where the branches are, so you want to kind of create what that shape looks like for the tree, because there might be branches that we can't see that are maybe covered. Because there's so much foliage. You still want to be able to see the branches that we've put on. I think I'm good with that. Try and just move your brush in different ways. If you end up doing it always the same, it's gonna look very patterned because the brush is kind of like a stamp sometimes, and that may not be the best to make it look natural. So when you're patting, kind of like move it, smush it in different ways. I'm just going back in again with some yellow, just touching it. If you're doing this on wet paint, you kind of have to keep putting more yellow paint on because the wet paint below will like totally just start mixing into the whatever lighter color you're putting. So you kind of just need to keep adding. And I'll just give it a little bit of definition. And again, have them come into wherever that keyhole is going to be, okay? Because we're gonna put the shape in after, and then it's gonna give a definition at that point. Okay. Yeah, I'm liking this. This is cool. Hope you're liking yours. Hope you're having fun. All right, yeah, these are good. Woohoo! Yes, I'm never 100% sure if it's going to turn out as good as the original painting. So I'm always happy when it does, because I don't want to disappoint you. Okay. Alright, so let me just show you a bit close what my trees look like. So there's the yellow, just kind of highlights them. You can still see the branches. Okay, there we go. Hi, Gulshan. How are you doing today? Glad you're joining us today again. Very cool. Awesome possum. Okay. So, that's still a little wet. In the picture, there's like little white, like kind of flowers. Like I guess they're flowering trees. I do kind of want to play with that and see how that's going to work, but I want to wait until this is fully dry, which it almost is. Again, probably because that fan's going behind me. It's keeping me cool, which is nice. But it's definitely drying my paints super fast. Awesome. Okay. So, dun 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 dun. I think we're good to start the little flowers. So the brushes I'm using, the ones I have predominantly are these ones they're from Desserts. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's like totally backwards, so that's not helping at all. So this one's a Desserts brush. I got them a long time ago. This is a number 7, is my medium. It's like rounded tip, I guess, but it's pretty flat but rounded. So that's this one. This is my medium brush. The one that I use is my big fat brush. And I use this one because of the size of the canvas. That's why I consider this my big fat brush. If I had a bigger canvas, you'd need a bigger brush. This one is a 10, same type of brush as my 7, only bigger. So it's kind of round, and it's flat but round. I feel like this has been through a little bit, so it has a bit of an angle to it. And then for my thin brush, I think we got these from the dollar store. I'm pretty sure. It was a pack, and they're like, I can't even read it, to be honest. But a pack of like, they're all black, and this is a number 3 in the pack, and they had a bunch of different sizes, and that's what I use for my fine brush. So those are my brushes. I do have, yeah, and this is another one from that pack. It's a bit fatter and soft. They're very soft bristles. So I use just whatever I have. I don't have a ton of money for a lot of art supplies, so I use what I can get, and I tend to be able to still do good with it. The canvas itself is just a canvas board I got from Amazon. I like the canvas board because it takes up less space than actual canvas. Again, as most of you guys know, like, I'm not a professional artist. This is just what I love to do, and I like to share what I know with you guys, and I love that we do this together. But I don't have like a studio. This is like my second bedroom. Sorry, I went on for a little while there. I talk a lot. I'm an only child, so I'm used to talking by myself. At least now there's like a point people are actually here instead of just me just doing this. I would do this still if I was by myself in this room. That's the sad part. Okay. Oh, awesome, your granddaughter's watching you. That's great, Asif. I hope it's working out. I hope you're enjoying it. It's turning out nice. So I'm getting, with my thin brush, is I just put white paint and I put a little bit of water. So now it's a little easier to move a bit. And I'm going to start putting in some flowers. So flowers kind of go in like little clusters. So I'm going to put a little grouping like here. I'm just going to put little dots. And I'm just going to have them come out like that. Okay. There's going to be like another little grouping here, I think. Oh, maybe that's a bit of a bigger grouping. Sometimes my brush moves a bit faster than I want it to. Move a little bit here. I'm making some a little bigger and some a little smaller. We're going to put some more like here. And it's going to come up this way. Some of them go on top of each other, some of them are separate and they're kind of by themselves. Another one a little bit here. It's going to come down this way. A few more in here. And I'm going to put a little bit here too. Just kind of play with it and decide where you want your little groupings to be. I'm making my flowerings. I'm going to stick with the white. You can make them pink. You can have white and pink. You can have lots of fun with it. I'm just touching with the corner of this number 3 brush. Here. It's going to come across this way. I'm going to put some up here. you can see. Yeah, you can see them there. Okay, good. Good. Okay, I'm gonna put some here. These trees at the tippity tops. Follow the curves that I've made with the other brush. Okay, so I'm just bringing it along some of the curves, like where I imagine the bushier branches and stuff to be. And there's just some other dots in random spots too, because maybe we don't see all the flowers that are coming on these trees. I don't know. There we go. That's cute. And most of them on the image is on the top, so nothing's really behind where the gate's gonna be. So I'm just gonna leave that as such, I think. Yeah, I think that's good. And I want to put a bit more up there actually before I finish that part. Cool. Yeah, I think that's good. Just kind of like look back, like look away from your picture just to see how it looks from a distance and see how you're enjoying what you're doing, and then where other areas that you might want to put some more in. I think that's all I want with that. I think that's good. Okay. All right, cool. So I want to start placing where I want this walkway to be and some of the greenery that's going to be on the side. Once I do that, then we're going to put in our fence, and then we're going to put in our little flower bunches, like, because the flower bunches and the additional greenery go on top of the fence. So we're going to first figure out this walkway and some of the greenery at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my medium brush, and bottom here is pretty much like a yellowy green. So I'm gonna mix again, bring this blue into my yellow. I definitely need some more yellow on my canvas. Okay, I need to put that on there. Awesome. Yeah, this painting is definitely yellow heavy, I find. Lots of yellow going on today. Last week there was like none. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna put that in. I actually do want it lighter, so I'm just gonna do this for coverage because I just want the whole base to be this kind of yellowy, yellow-green. And then I'll add some darkness and lightness to it in a little bit. Okay. And it's gonna, I am gonna bring it right across my frame of the key. I'm just continuing to lighten it with yellow. I think I'm gonna play and put a little bit of white in it too. See if that changes things up. Oof, my white's so dry. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I just want the bottom to have this base color on it first. Okay, and just by going back and forth, it already kind of seems more like ground, which is good. Again, that gate is gonna go about here, more or less, that fence. And then my pathway is gonna come in here. Okay, and it is darker at the top and it kind of comes down. I'm gonna pop open my pre-made green because I want to check out how this looks different than the green I'm making, and it's actually really similar. So let me just show you. So that's the pre-made green that came from the bottle, and when I mix it together, like, I'm getting already a value very similar to that. So they're actually very similar. So I may or may not, I might use it just for the hell of it because it might be easy to easier to like dab it in that way, but I don't know, we'll see. I might just stick with my mixing it back and forth. Okay, so I just put some blue on my brush, and I just want to make it a little bit darker here. Ugh, it's too blue. Okay, I'm gonna go with my pre-made green. I just want it a little darker wherever that base of that fence is gonna be. Okay, there we go. And I'm just gonna bring this down, this color. Just in sideways motions. My paint but behind it is still pretty darn wet. Kind of where my path is going to be. There's just like, there's a few little values of darker green that come up in the path, so I'm just gonna try to put that in lightly. So similar to anyone who's joined me before, and we've done like water, and we kind of are doing these little streaky motions. That's kind of what we're accomplishing here with this little path variation to get the green going in the path. Okay, all right. And then what I want to do is we're gonna put some bushes and stuff along the side. I need more yellow than that. I should finish my yellow that's almost done first. Oh, it's dry. There we go. Okay. Dry paint is so dry. Okay. Okay, there we go. We're good. Okay, so I'm gonna get this, and I'm just going to start mixing and just kind of blotting it a bit where I want the shrubbery-ish to be in this picture. Change the texture of it. Okay, this is where the shrubbery is going to be on either side. Okay, I'm still using the same brush. I haven't cleaned it from when I was playing with the middle part. I'm just dabbing, and then with the yellow it's just mixing, and it's just giving me a different texture to it, so it gives the feeling more of bushes. Okay, and similar to like with the trees, if you want them to have different values, you can go a bit over. If it's still wet, you can just put yellow to kind of give it a bit more, but as you do it, the paint mixes with the wet paint, so you kind of have to keep adding more yellow to still keep that going. And I do want it to be lighter at the front here. I want a little bit in the back too, so I'm just going to dab it a bit. Still going to put some more other colors in here and stuff too, but again, this is kind of building the background up a bit. So when we put in the little red flowers, and you can add a lot more detail to it afterwards. Kind of just looks like there's like a water path, which if you are digging that, you can make that water and like forego the whole thing, put a boat in it or do whatever you want. It'd be kind of weird to have like a door that's water, but you know, it's all good. It's magical. All right. Okay, I hope you guys are still enjoying and doing well. We're almost at our hour mark, so it's not too shabby actually. Still quite a bit of detail to do, so this will take a bit more time. Okay, awesome. So I do want this to dry down a little bit before I start putting in some of my detail to get like my darker greens and to get the flowers and whatnot. So I'm not going to do that yet. Here it's already kind of dry because that's what we did initially. So I'm going to go in and put in some of those like rocks that we have. Again, you can do like a pre-mixed color. So I mixed blue and red, I put a bit of yellow, and I put a bit of black, and I got like a really dark brown color. Or if you have a pre-mixed brown, you can use that too. I'm going to do that because my paint's drying really fast. I'm going to just put a little bit of the pre-mixed brown. I'm going to use that to do some of the stones. If you don't have that, again, you can mix blue and red, put some yellow, put a little bit of black, and just darken it up with the black if you want it however dark you want, or use some white and lighten it up with it. It's going to be kind of grayish that way too, depending on how much black and white you put into it. I'm going to use right now, I'm using the pre-mixed brown, and I'm just putting some white into it. it to be smooth. Okay. And the rocks are smaller further away and they're bigger closer. So let's pop in one of the bigger ones at the front so we can kind of gauge what we're doing. So mine's gonna be kind of misshapen. I don't want them to be perfect. I want them to have a bit of character. So I had my light color, and then I just grabbed the dark color and I just started like kind of mixing right on my shape. Okay. So I'm doing the same thing. So that's one. There's gonna be another one like here. It's gonna go off the page, off the keyhole thing, and that's fine. That's good. I like that. Putting a little bit of dark back in. Okay, cool. Another small one maybe here. Okay. Make sure you guys are good. I don't see any other comments, so I think everyone's still good. If you need anything, let me know and I will keep an eye out. I'll try to help you. Okay. That's the great thing about these. They do not need to be perfect. I love that. The pressure is just right off. You can make them any shape you want to make them, and it works. Because even in there might be some smaller ones, there might be some bigger ones. And they all come together to have this nice path. Okay, and then maybe we have one here. Oh, that color is lighter than what I was using. Okay. You can decide where you want them, if you want more or less. It's really up to you, and how you want them to be positioned. At this point, this could still be water, I guess. It could just be rocks and water. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Nice. I feel like there would be a rock here too. Cool. There we go. Got some rocks going on. Oh, good. Thanks. I'm glad you guys are doing good. Thanks for the messages. It's good. I like it. Again, it's weird not to be able to hear you guys and talk in person. One day when these restrictions are lifted, one day. Okay. It's almost there. It's happening slowly. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna play with this a little bit. I want to make some of them a little bit lighter, so I'm just gonna put some white and just like put a little bit in some. I don't know, because I want to kind of give it like a rocky kind of feel. I want to make them look a little messier, not so soft. Let me see, am I liking this, what I'm doing? Yeah, that's good. So I'll just put a little bit of white paint, and I'm just like kind of just touching each of my rocks a bit, just to give them a bit of texture. You can keep them smooth. If you don't like it, you can make it, you can color back up again with like a darker color. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's whatever you like. I'm just going back now with the darker color, and I'm just touching it over just to make sure it looks more organic and not like super uniform. Okay, so there we go. So what I find here is that the dark color in the background behind the rocks is pretty much the same as this color here. And I do want it to be darker in the back here. I'm going to try to accomplish that a little bit. We'll see how this goes. Just want to make it a little darker. Let me see. I'm going to try it, and if it works out, then I will talk through what I am doing. I don't know if I'm going to like it. Oh, I feel like it's way too dark. Ah. I feel like I kind of just want to like outline this a little bit, just to make it a little darker back here. So I just mixed probably a little bit too much black, to be honest, initially with my pre-made green. And I'm just coloring around some of the rocks back here just to make it a little darker, closer to where the gate's gonna live. So I want it to be a little darker back there. I may or may not regret this later. We'll see. Okay, and as I'm coming up closer, I want to lighten it as I'm coming down. I don't want it to be super dark the whole way. So I'm lightening it by putting a little bit of yellow and then bringing that color down. I'm mixing it into the sides too. So just play with it until you get kind of what you want. Like I said, I want it to be a little bit darker, so I think that's good there. So it has a bit of a darker shadow there. Oh, awesome, Andrew. Great, I can't wait to see it when it's done. You have a great afternoon too, hun. Yeah, like I said, this is gonna take at least another hour to finish, I would say. So I totally understand if you guys can't stay on the whole time. Please share your pictures when you're done. This is a lot of detail work. It's like kind of like two paintings in one, realistically, right? We're doing like a whole landscape in the background, and then we're also then going to be doing a whole like detailed keyhole or door, I suppose. Okay. So now that I've played with that a bit, now this is all dry on the sides. So I want to start putting in some of the flowers and some of the other greenery and the shrubs and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to get some red. So I want my flowers to be red and maybe some pink, but I'm going to start with red. Oh, my red paint that I put on an hour ago on here has dried fully. So I'm just putting some water to liven it up. You might just need to use some fresh paint. That's good too. Okay, and I'm going to put some flowers here. So they're going to, oh wait, no, I'm not. I still have to put in, hold up. No, I'm not doing that. Sorry guys. We gotta first put in our fence because some of the flowers are gonna go over our fence. So let's do that first. So we need white. And I'm gonna get fresh white because my white absolutely dried too. Okay, and we're gonna plot in where we want this lovely fence to live. So I'm gonna get some water on my paintbrush. If you're using white and your water container is dirty, I suggest getting a fresh, like switching it up, getting some fresh water. Or just enjoying the kind of color you're making if you're making a gray fence now. Or whatever you're doing. Okay, cool. So this fence has a lovely straight line kind of across the top. And so my bottom of the fence is going to be here. That straight line across the top is going to be about there, and then the fence is going to kind of come up from there. Okay, cool. So just kind of plot it where you want it. Sorry, I hope my brain logic and where I wanted my fence made sense, because I kind of just said there a lot. But I want it to be, I want that top line to be here. So there's like a line at the top of the fence. Okay, and I'm just gonna put some more paint on my brush. And I'm just gonna bring that across. I just wanna make this a little thicker. So always start thinner than you want it to be, and then thicken it up as you go. It's easier to do that than to try to correct a mistake. Although if you joined me last week, you can correct mistakes, and I showed you how to do that because I kind of made my figure a little bit awkward in last week's painting. So you can check that out. Or you can wait till I make a mistake today and I will show you. Anyways, okay, so let's do that. Okay, so that's where I want that fence line to be. I try to make it as straight as possible. I think I did a pretty good job with it. We could see. So right in the middle, there was a bigger fence stick. That's the tallest one. So I'm gonna just plot that in thinly as I can with my thin brush. It's gonna come down. Okay, so that's where my middle fence line's going to be. I'm leaving now. Ooh, I love that idea, Lisa. That sounds so cool. Yeah, absolutely do. I would love to see that. If you have like a beach in there instead. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you were the one who said you wanted to do the beach one. The other one. Maybe I was wrong. There's a few Lisas who commented. But yeah, that would be awesome. Please, please show me. Thanks for saying bye. That's really sweet. Thanks, guys. Okay, cool. So, oh, I'm putting my hand here, but it is dry. If you're doing that, please be cautious. And I'm just trying to do this neatly so that you can still see my painting as I'm doing it. You should be moving the painting so it's more convenient for you and not moving your hand to adjust to the painting. I'm doing this to try to keep it in view and hopefully not get too much in your way. I think I'm a little bit in your way. But hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. I'm just basically drawing a long, skinny rectangle all the way down to where I want my fence to end. Okay. And I'm gonna make that as high as that's the highest point on my fence. That's gonna be the highest point. Okay. And whatever thickness I make that, the other beams should be that same thickness in relation. So it makes sense to the painting, okay? Ooh, I love it. I can't wait to see yours, Lisa. That's really exciting. Have a good day. Okay, cool. So, okay, now I'm gonna make another one here, and again I'm gonna start hopefully thinner. I'm gonna follow the line down, bring it across, and then bring it down. And it's okay if these aren't super straight, because sometimes if you have a fence, some of the pieces might be a little bit wonky. It doesn't have to be perfect. So keep that in mind as we're doing this. Okay. I'm going to try to match this side about the same distance as the last one I just did. About the same thickness, more or less. About the same height, more or less, as the one I did on the other side of the middle one. And we're going to bring it down. Okay, so we got some going on right here. I feel like now my center's a bit off, but that's all right. We're just gonna go with it because that is okay. All right. So the next one's not gonna be as high as those guys. We're gonna bring it down. We're gonna bring it across, and we're gonna bring it down. And it's okay if it's not perfectly straight, but it's pretty straight. The fence has to hold itself up. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Again. Okay. The gaps are a bit off, but it works. It's fine. So it's okay if it's not perfect with it. It shouldn't be 100% because it's not like a perfect fence. It's like a wooden handmade fence, so that's cool. And then the other ones are going to be, I'm going to make the other ones slightly lower, and then that's going to kind of be the standard for the rest of the pieces of wood on my fence here. So they're all going to be about there. More or less. Okay, we're good. And I'm going to keep going back and forth to try to keep them even. It may or may not work, but we'll try. It's a little bit higher than that one. Okay. And this one I'm going to try to make it the same height as the last one we just did there. Beside it and then bring that down. Okay, trying to make sure this stays about the same size too, because I'm noticing that sometimes I'm dipping down a bit further on this side than that side. So just pay attention to how you're doing it too, because you might have little things like that as well. Okay, this one I want it to be a little lower because I feel like that was a little. Okay, I want my. Sorry if I'm covering it up a bit, but this is tricky. Finding this hard side way more difficult to do. Okay. And depending how your paint's going on, you may want to put another layer on top of it. I'm going to just finish off this side, I think, and then I'll move over to that side. Depending how much water you have in the white paint, it might make it more easier to like spread, but then it's not going to be as opaque. And I do want my fence to be pretty solid, so I might end up putting another coating on top of that. But having it a little bit waterier, not wet so it drips, but just it will be easier to control it, like it'll be more like ink. So I'm gonna just try to get this side going. And then we're Yeah, one more. I don't think we need another one after that. And the same thing here. And that kind of, yeah, perfect. Awesome. I think that is good. There we go. There's a fence. So hopefully that works out. I'll hold it a bit closer so you can see. You'll see that not all of them are perfect. They have a pretty decent distance between each other. I try to keep it as close to what I said. So like these are taller and then it kind of comes down. This is a little bit shorter than what I would want it to, but that's okay. But see, some of them are you can still see the background quite a bit. So I'm probably going to go over and just make it fully white. Okay. I'm just going to get some paper towel so I can do that. So I'm just like rinsing my thin brush right now. So it had quite a bit of water on it as I was doing it, and I want to take the water off. So I was just rinsing it off, taking all the water. Now it's kind of clean again. And then now I'm going to get just pure paint with no water. Load it onto my brush, and then I'm just going to touch the areas that have dried and just make it a little bit darker. You know what? I still need a little bit of water just because the paint's dried so quickly that I'm not going to put too much or else it's going to defy the whole purpose. Hey, maybe you have like a multicolor, like a pride fence this week. Celebrate Pride Week for June and have like all different colors. That'd be kind of cool too. Making this all opaque. Okay, cool. So I think I'm happy with that for now. I always say that and then I touch more. Okay. Cool. Cool. Now let's play with some of the flowers and the bushes and all of that loveliness in front of the fence. So I know I have some red paint and I'm just going to put some red dots here. Just gonna put a bunch of red dots. I don't know about dots even. I'm kind of just like, with my fine brush, I have paint and I'm just gonna like dab it and I might make them come up a little bit. Okay, so that's gonna kind of be one. This is gonna be my base and then I'm gonna add more on top of it. So like now then I'm gonna put some white paint on my existing brush and then I'm just going to dab on top of the red I just put, and it's gonna mix as I'm going. So now it's a pinky color, but then it has like a red undertone, so that's gonna look kind of nice. Okay, then I'll put some more white and then bring it up into here. Okay, a little pink bush going on. Maybe I want to make it a little bit darker, so I'm going to put a little bit of dark red again. Bring the darker red up to the top and around the sides. There we go. So there's a little red bushy flower thing going on here. Cool. I think I wanted to stick a little bit further into my path. So I'm just going to do that. I just want to make it come out a little bit more. Do the same thing. So I put red, I put a little bit of white, and I'm just gonna dab it into that. Like that, okay? And it goes into my path a little bit. Okay, so that's my first little bushy flower thing going on. So thin brush. I'm gonna put a little bit of water on it just to make it a little bit viscose because my paint's drying so fast. I don't want it to be super uniform. I do want another one here. Kind of pile. Maybe with this one we're gonna still see some of the green behind it. I do want it to get into these areas. I'm gonna get some white and I'm just gonna go on top. I'll just touch it. Smoosh around my brush in different ways. Just to give the idea of like little flower bush things going on. Okay. And I'm doing it pretty like abstractly. If you can get super detailed with this if you want to. I'm not doing that right now, but you can do whatever to your heart's content. Okay, cool. And I'm going to do one more. And this is going to kind of be off to the side of it. I'm just going to pop it around here. Maybe it comes out a little bit further. Some white, which then becomes kind of pink, and do the same thing, just pop it on top. And then as I'm doing it, it's just like blending in the colors. Little bushies going on. Bushy bushes. And we can add some darker green foliage to it too. So I think I want to, yeah, I think I'm going to continue putting the red on this side, and then I'm going to go in and put a little bit of darker green foliage on this side as well. So let's do that, okay? Everyone who's still hanging on. It's a long paint session today. Keep us on our toes. Okay, this bush is going to be up here a little bit. Red's going to pop. Pop, pop. Nice. Okay. There's gonna be another one like here. It kind of comes down, but it goes up a bit. And it goes, and it kind of comes out. Okay. Just trying to follow the patterns of the one in the picture. Again, it's still gonna be a little bit different. Just to get that same vibe going. Okay, I'm getting white on my brush. And I'm just going to put in some white, which then makes it a bit pinky. Blends in a bit as I go. Okay. And remember, if you want it to be more white, you kind of need to keep putting more white paint on your brush each time you are dabbing into the wet paint, because the wet paint will automatically start to blend it in. Okay, so let's talk about some of the flowers that we have going on. All right. Hope you're digging that. Alright, I'll show you close up a bit what I've done. You can change it up. You can make your flowers any color you want. Doesn't have to be this. Do whatever you like. Cool. So I do want to put a bit more definition and have some of the foliage pop out a bit. I still want it to be like the green and the yellow, and to play with that and to have some darker green values in some areas too. So, oh, my paint is drying so fast with the fan on. It's crazy. Obvious, I guess, but like annoying at the same time. Okay, so I'm just gonna get like a darker green. So again, if you're mixing, you want to put blue and yellow and then put a bit more blue into it. If you want to darken it up with black, just be very cautious because that black is very powerful and it will take over what you're doing. Okay, so now I'm just going to, with my green, I want to just create a little bit, I want to have a little bit of darkness going on here. I want it to be a little dark. I'm just going to dab, 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 dab. Put a little bit up here too. Just going to have some green stuff happening. Just going to do abstract because it's easier. And if we go too detailed, it's going to take a long time. And I'm not doing that right now. Okay, I'm just going to go in here and put in some more. You can even go into the flowers and put in some green if you want. I just wanted to have some more texture than what we have in our background color. Okay. I might even go into the rocks a bit too, and that's cool. Okay. Okay, but I don't want to go further down because I want it to be mixed a bit still. Okay, we're going to put some more dark here. So I want to put in some dark so when I put a lighter color on top, it will pop out, because otherwise everything will kind of blend and look the same. So I'm just touching around just to give it a bit more texture. Doing it in here, and I'm going to put some yellow on top of this to make it pop out more, because right now everything's so blendy that you can't really tell the difference. Okay, so now I'm going to get some yellow on my brush, because I still want this to stay pretty light down here, but I do want it to have a bit more texture, and I want this to come out a bit more. Remember to get to over the corner of where that keyhole is going to be. So now by doing this, it's kind of touching and it's blending and it's making it a bit more texture here. I'm doing the same thing up here. I'm not putting as much yellow because I want it to stay darker in these areas. And that just gave it a bit more dimension into this picture than it did before. Just looks like more is going on. So I'm gonna put some yellow back in here. I didn't clean my brush, so my brush still has some of the darker green further down on the brush, so it might still come out that way, and that works in our favor. Okay. I'm just gonna dab, 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 dab. Okay. So I'm already liking the way that goes, and you can kind of do this forever. This can be very therapeutic. Or you can just stop whenever you decide to. I want to bring some of it into the walkway a little bit, because in nature, I don't want this to be like a fully manicured is what I meant to say. A fully manicured lawn or walkway. So we want it to kind of come into where the walkway is a little bit. Alright. I think I'm happy with that. I kind of feel like I want a little bit more going on here, but I'm going to try and put a little bit of white in it too. I don't know if I'm going to like it, so we'll see. Yeah, okay. Well, it's working okay. I'm going to put just a little bit of white in certain areas on this grassiness that I just want to pop and highlight a little bit more. Yeah, you know what? That's what that needed. I want it to be a little lighter in here. Okay. I don't really want it everywhere, so I'm just putting it here because I want it to be a little bit lighter here. And a little bit on this side, and I touched it a bit there and a bit there. Okay, cool. Kind of highlighted the center. It looks kind of like more white flowers maybe is growing. But yeah. All right, here we go. So there are the little flower bushies that we have going on our walkway in our garden. All right. Oh my gosh, guys, we are almost ready to do the keyhole part. Yay! I do think that's the next step, realistically. That's a lot of painting. That's pretty good. So it's almost 3:30 right now. So now we have the back, and now we have to do the actual front part of it. I am drinking water, so I'm just taking a second and just drinking some water. All right, so your door where the keyhole lives can be any color you want. In this picture, it is a brown kind of color. So I'm gonna stick with the way this picture looks. I am gonna use a pre-made brown just to simplify things for me a bit. And I think, no, I think I wanna use a thinner brush first, and then I'm going to go. So my pre-made brown, all my paint is from the dollar store. This is a Deco Art. This one's a cinnamon brown. If you don't have brown, you can mix blue and red together, put some yellow in it. You can darken it up slightly with some black. Black is very powerful. That's not gonna be enough brown. Get real. Let's put more brown on that palette. I'll be painting pretty fast. Okay, cool. So let us start with, so I want to outline where I want that to be, but I want to get a lot of paint on here as well. So let's start. I'm using my medium-sized brush. I think that's the one I'm most comfortable with right now to do this. You might want to just pick whichever one you think works best. So I'm going to start off the bottom here. Okay. And I'm just going a little bit below where I want that keyhole base to be. Okay, and then I'm just gonna pop in this color. The bottom here is actually a little bit darker, so I'm gonna throw in some black in that pre-made brown already. And I'm just gonna get, and I'm not putting any water into this. My brown paint is actually pretty liquidy, so I'm going to bring that all across the bottom. And again, when you're painting your canvas, make sure you're getting the sides and the bottom of the canvas as you go. Because if you're putting it up, you want that to be painted, or you're going to be able to see that on your wall when you've hung it up. Okay. I'm going to just go on the bottom and do that. And yes, when I paint the bottom, and then I put it right back down on my thing. I can't think of words right now. I'm not actually going to be hanging this up because it's on a canvas board, so I'm not too worried about that not being perfect at the bottom, but it will still have color if someone were to look at it, so it's fine. Okay. So there's the bottom part of the keyhole. Okay. So, so as I was painting this, I noticed the line is not going to be as sharp as I want it to be. And that makes me a little apprehensive to make the detailed keyhole part with this one. But I still want to get more paint on the canvas. So I'm going to start and just outline where I want the keyhole to be. I'm going a little bit further than where it's going to end up, because I want to just get paint on the canvas, but I don't want to have like a messy line, and this brush is not going to be as detailed as I want it to be. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to color, and then I'm going to go closer with a thinner brush after. Maybe like very much like right now, but I just want to put in the shape I want here. Okay. brush. I'm doing it. That works. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. Okay. So up at the top, you guys good? All right, cool. Just want to make sure there's no other comments going on. Don't want to miss your comments. You guys are all doing good still. So I'm just going to get this brown on here. I want this brown to be a bit lighter, so I'm going to put some yellow as I'm painting this part, because I want this to be a little brighter. And if I blend it into the wet paint, it's going to look a bit natural. It's going to look like a natural progression between one of the colors to the next. And that's what I want. I'm kind of blending this yellow. So now I put that base of brown. My brush still has tons of brown paint still on it. I grabbed some yellow, and now I'm just emphasizing this shape with the yellow. This still stays very dark like that, which is what I want. I want the line close to around my picture to be very dark brown, but I want it, as it goes away, to be lighter. Then as I come down to the bottom, I want to make it darker again. So I want it to be lighter up here, darker down here. Okay, so I'm gonna get brown is the base. Base is brown. There we go. Brown, brown, brown. I'm gonna put a bit of black on down here and bring it up into the color here. Okay, get brown. Blend it down, and as it comes up, it blends into this yellowy brown. This is all with wet paint, and again, if you're using a larger canvas, you need to work quickly, use a larger brush, have more paint readily available, and that will make your life easier. I can't really tell because the glare is kind of weird. Yeah, okay, that's working. Good. Yay. Yay. It's fun. It's like an ombre. Is that what you say? Ombre? No, wait. Is that the color? For like hair color? When it's like one shade to another? I feel like I didn't say it right. Ah, well. Okay, cool. I wanted it a little bit darker at the base, so I just put more black, and I'm just blending it upwards and over. My paint down here is already dried. It makes sense because freaking acrylic, so fast to dry. Okay, so that's one side of my keyhole. Looks pretty awesome so far. I think I'm happy with it. All right, so now we need to try to emulate it to look similar on the other side, and that's always the fun part because, you know. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Let's go along the outside of it to get the shape, kind of. See, already, like, this is already far down, so let's bring it in closer. Right? That's a little closer, so when I get more detail, that will be better. Okay, and then that comes in here-ish. Oh, okay, there we go. So I'm going to bring it around. I'm not going exactly where my line's going to be yet. I'm going a bit further out because that makes me braver than trying to cut it in initially. Okay. Whew, here we go. Let's see how this is gonna go. I still see that yellow that I put in initially. That was a bit much. I'm scared. Okay, there we go. Sometimes the keyhole might be smaller than I expected. That's okay. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be awesome. Okay. Yeah. That's good. There. Let's see. It's a bit funky. It's a little bit funky. Sorry, my arms are right in your way, but I don't know how else to do it without getting this down. Let's see. So I'm literally eyeballing it from a distance, trying to go back and see if it's working. It's kind of funky here. I'm not going to stress about that too much. I think we need this to come in a bit further. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think we got that. Yes, I will try my best. Heather just asked if I could center. Oh, that did not help. So much for my tripod. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that helps. Okay. So I'm going to start doing some of the blending now again on this side. So I'm just going to get brown because it's the base and it's wet, and dip right in. I have a lot of yellow. My brush has tons of brown already on it, and then I'm just, it's happened before. I grab paint and then I like put a big smear across my paintings. Try not to do that. It sucks to try to fix that. Okay. Okay, so now, can you see that okay? Hopefully. Okay, so now I put yellow and then my brush already had brown on it. I want it to stay darker brown closer to, like, to give that line to the middle there, so that works out well. And then I'm just going to grab more yellow on my brush and then bring that into the brown. So just more yellow on the brush and then just bringing that into the brown as it's still wet. Okay. And then I just want to have a bit more brown to blend it over to the other side. Okay. And then bring more brown down. So I just have brown now. And I'm just following the lines of this keyhole and also painting the sides of my canvas as I go. Okay. Some more brown. I want to just wet. So the bottom here I already painted, but the paint has now dried. So I'm just putting more paint on it just so it's wetter. Now I'm getting black on my brush and I'm popping the black right on and on the sides, and then I'm getting more brown on here and putting it into the black and then bringing it in, just mixing it all together and then bringing it upwards. It's getting a little too dark up here, so I'll put some more yellow back into it, and I'm going to bring this across. And the brown is always the base, so that's the one you want to make sure you have the most on your brush and you have the most accessibility to it. So that will keep things going. Okay, I still need more yellow up here, so I got more yellow on my brush. I'm just bringing this in here. And by doing that, like if you have this kind of streakiness, it already kind of gives it the feeling of it being wood and having different colors, and it's like the veins of the wood. So you're creating that by just having this like blendy fun happening with the yellow and the brown and the black and the streaks of it. So hopefully that was okay. It's hard to see it. Wish I had a better camera so you guys could see it better. Okay, and I just noticed too, some of this is pretty light, so I just want to go over that a bit. So I can see some of my initial streaks on that, and I don't want to. So I'm just going to touch up that a bit. So just take a look on your painting as well and just see, because I can see some of the tree branches, for example, and you shouldn't be able to see your tree branch, or remember that yellow line we initially did to mark where we wanted this? That you shouldn't be able to see any of that. This is a solid door. So just pay attention to that and just cover it back with some brown. Okay. And the great thing is it can be blendy. It can be a bit streaky too, and that's fine, because again, that's this is like a wood door, right? So it can be however you want it to be. Just gonna do it a little bit more here. Depends how the wood was processed, I suppose. Okay, I do want to try to keep it not super dark, because I want to add a little bit of the black in to emphasize some of the details, like around there's like two little like circle-y things that are on either side, which you can decide to add, or you don't have to if you don't want to. It's really up to you. So I do want to make it actually a bit lighter. I'm going to put some more yellow into it. So much yellow in this painting today. Wowie, wowie. So I'm just lighting this up a little bit because I want it to be just a touch lighter. Again, black takes over everything, so if you used quite a bit of black, it just takes over. Again, the great thing about acrylic, you can wait for it to dry, and it's pretty easy to cover it up. You can pop a color on top of it, especially in this way. Like, if you still see some of the black come through, it's fine, because it will add some emphasis to it, but you can still cover it up a lot. I'm trying to touch the middle of the painting, but I'm watching my fingers too to make sure I don't have anything on them, just because I want my painting to stay where it's supposed to stay. So already on this side my paint's already dried, so I'm just re-adding some brown just so I can lighten it with the yellow, because the brown's the base. I'm just putting in a little bit of yellow as I'm going. I'm putting some more brown on top. I'm just trying to mix it into the background that's there. Pretty dark, so I did put quite a bit of black on there. Cool. See, up here it's a little straight, so I don't really like that. I'll probably go in and touch that up too. I just don't know if I want to do that right now. I'm not sure. I do want to make that a little bit darker. Just gonna take a look to make sure everything is opaque. The door is nice and solid, and it's not okay. I think that's good. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Oh, thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, I'm annoyed about this. That is annoying me because it's not nicely circular. But that's what happens when you're a perfectionist. But no, everything else, I'm very happy with it. I think it looks really kick-ass. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now, what are we doing next? We are gonna put these circular things just for the hell of it. And that's gonna be kind of annoying, because if they are different sizes, it's gonna look kind of weird. But we're gonna try it and see what happens, and hopefully it doesn't mess it up. And if it does, guess what? We can let it dry and we'll just paint right over it and no one will know. But let's try and see if we can get these knobby things in here. Okay, yellow, you are my friend. Let's do it with yellow. Okay, so I'm gonna start I'm using still this medium brush. Maybe that's a bad idea. Yeah, I don't like this brush. This brush is not working. It's too fat. I'm going to have a thinner brush for it. Okay. Okay. I have another water container ready to go. If your water looks like this color, change your water. It's not going to clean your brushes very well at all. And again, you want to try to get as much acrylic off your brushes so they last you for years and years and years and years. Okay, even if they're cheap brushes from the dollar store. Okay, I'm just going to move to a smaller paintbrush. Where's my thinner one? This one there. I have some extra ones there. Okay, cool. So, put some yellow on here. Okay, breathe and draw. Okay. I'm going to try to get a circle going here. Like I said, if I don't like it, I am removing them and we're just making this flat, but we'll see how it goes. All right, that's my first circle. There we go. Let's go on the other side and see what happens. Oh God. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I'm just using yellow and I'm putting a bit of water just so it's a little bit easier for it to spread. I'm gonna try to eyeball it and hopefully this works. Canvas is a little wet. This one's definitely different than the other circle, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely brighter. I definitely had a little more brown on this one than this one, but that's okay. I'm pretty happy though with how centered it is. I think it worked out okay. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna put some brown in here. Make it a little bit darker because I made this one's very yellow. Okay. I touched it weirdly there, of course. Undo, undo. So much easier when you're doing like digital art. Just hit the undo button. So much easier. Okay, I want to make this a bit yellow, more yellow. So I'm just gonna put this on top here. Make it a little brighter. I know these little knobbies are a little brighter, so that works out. Okay, cool. Okay, I think that's the knobbies. That's what I'm calling them. No, I need to fix it clearly. Because every time I say I'm done, I'm still going to touch it like one more time. Just one more time. Okay. In the picture as well, I actually circled with like black and then it kind of like blends outward. So we're going to do a similar type thing here too. Let me think. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to rinse off my thin brush. If I still want it to be watery, My black paint, I think, is pretty much, oh no, it's okay. It's very dry, but I still, it's enough of what I need for this, so that's good. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I put some water in there so it's very easy to maneuver. Okay, so I'm going to put a black circle around these. It's not going to be perfect. It's just going to be like so. I'm going to do it on both sides. I want to do that yet. No, I don't. I want to get brown now. And I want to mix it in a little bit. And bring the circle outwards. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put some brown, which doesn't even look like brown because there's so much black on my thing. So I'm going to bring brown. We're going to bring it around too. Not done. Okay, I'm just kind of playing with it because I'm not liking the way it's looking exactly. So what I'm doing is I try to clean off my brush a bit from the black, and I just have the more brown on here, just to so I can kind of blend it outwards. Because it's a little too black, and I don't like that. So there's still a little bit on my brush, which is okay. It's okay if some of it comes back a little bit later, that's fine. I'm going to put some yellow as well into the further ones just to get streakiness. So I'm doing the same kind of blendy thing I did before. The paint is wet, so basically yeah, this is working. Good. So I'm putting in yellow, and then I am bringing it in towards the center, and I'm going kind of in a circular motion, and the yellow as I'm going is blending with the wet paint, and it is kind of giving it like a streakiness to it, which is what we want, which is good. And I'm going to go back and put some brown, so I'm just going to go back and forth with like the yellow and the brown until it's the way I want it to be. I feel like the knobby is like really yellow now. Oh my god. Yeah, I need to darken that up a bit. So the knobby needs to be a bit brown, and it's like a it's like a circle, right? Like it has some kind of dimensionality to it. So I'm just gonna put like a C shape here. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring it towards there, so it kind of makes it look like it's actually like a three-dimensional circle, kind of. A bit of yellow on this side. There you go. That's better. Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay, so it's a bit of a lighter yellow here. We're just putting pure yellow. And then the base here is brown in a curvy kind of shape. There you go. There. Oh, I keep touching where I'm not supposed to touch. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. But that works, that works. Okay, cool. I want to still put some black underneath it. Okay. Oh, okay, so Heather says that I figured out why it is centered. Facebook zooms in on the picture in portrait mode, but if I turn my phone to landscape, it looks great. Okay, good. Okay, that's really good to know. So if you go to landscape mode, you can actually see the picture in a better way. That's good to know. Thank you, Heather. Thanks for sharing that, because I don't actually know how well you guys are seeing certain aspects of it. So any kind of tips you guys can share with each other, that is amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just putting it back in this like black line because I kind of deleted it as I was playing with the color. And I still want it to have an idea of it being there. There we go. Yeah, I like that a lot. Now, to make it the same on the other side. That's always fun. Trying to make it the same. Ah! Oh, I love that you are enjoying this. That's so good. Yay. It is so beautiful. It's very, very pretty. Okay, cool. So let's start how we started before. So on this side, we are going to put a black, solid-ish, but not perfect, trace kind of around the yellow-ish knobby that we made. Okay. I am, however, this time going to take that black off my brush because that messed me up a little bit. I'm going to get brown, and now I'm going to go around this and like smear this black further out, but with brown on my brush. So now it looks better and softer. We're going to go in a circular motion around. Okay. I'm going to keep going, and then we're going to add some yellow as we do this. So a little bit of yellow and some brown. And the brown is going to allow us to blend everything so nicely into the background so it doesn't look garish. It's also going to make the canvas wet again, so I'm using the brown to kind of give me that wetness of paint that then will allow, when I put this yellow, it will then blend in like a circular around this orb that we've created. Okay. Okay. And every time if you put too much yellow or you need to blend it a bit more, grab the brown and then bring it around. And the brown is what you're going to use to make sure that it blends nicely into the background and into each other, but you still have a couple little streakies. Yellow. And again, that knob looks weird because we haven't made it darker. We haven't given it some shape that we did on the other side. Okay, so this one's definitely darker because I brought more black out, so I'm going to do the same thing because I want them to match. So I'm going to put a little bit of black. I'm putting black on my brush and just bringing it into the wet paint, and then I'm going to take that brown again and I'm going to mix this black into what I've done because it needs to match the side or else it's not balanced and that's not cool. Okay. Just get this brown and let's blend. Ugh, sorry, the black is so strong. Okay. I need the brown to blend into the black. There we go. So the way you do that is you have to kind of start, you want to start, if you want the brown to blend into the black, you need the brown to start not on the black. It needs to start like on like a dry surface or like away from it, and then you go into the black with it. If you need the black to blend out into something or the color, then you start in the colors. Then you would basically start your brush in the black and then you'd move it around, and that black will then start to spread everywhere. So that's, hopefully that helped. Okay. Similar, this has some more yellow lines on the side. So I want this to work. Okay, there we go. Get some more brown. Get some more yellow, put a bit of highlight somewhere, and then brown to blend. Just move this around a bit. Trying to keep it in a circular motion. Okay. think I'm gonna keep it like that, and now we're gonna play with that circle in the middle. I need more brown again. Yeah, this is working out nicely. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Okay, and then with here, it's not the exact same. It's gonna be brown along here on this knobby part. Kind of like a smile. Okay, and then we're gonna get yellow, and we're gonna put yellow here. And the yellow is gonna be at the top here, more or less. And then that's what's gonna mix into. Just gonna blend that a little bit in the middle. Give that shape. Some more of this brown, and then we're gonna keep it right into that black line, because then we're gonna touch it up in a moment. All right. Okay, this is a bit straight here. We need it to be a bit more curved. Okay, yellow, more yellow. Okay, blend it in. Okay, there we go. It looks weird to the other side, but I think that's what we're doing. I feel like this isn't as defined as I want it to be now. I'm just going to put a little bit dark just to curve it a little bit more. Okay. I had to touch this other side again. I couldn't help myself. Okay. Stop touching on. All right. I still want to go back over and re-put in that black line around that guy. So I'm going to do that now too. Where are we at? We're at 4 o'clock, so we're at 2 hours now. So anyone who has stuck with me, you guys are all stars, because it is tiring to paint for 2 hours, but fun, but tiring. Okay, there we go. We're gonna keep that like that for now. Okay. Oh, awesome, Annette. Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see your version of it. It's gonna look so pretty. Yay. Okay. So there we got my knobby thingies. That's definitely a bit more defined than this side, but that's all right. It's looking good. Laura, you need to go. Yeah, no problem. I totally understand. Thank you so much. Hopefully yours is turning out nice, and I can't wait to see it. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to continue on for a little bit more. I want to put in some of those lovely little like swirly leaves and stuff, because they're very cute and pretty. So let's see how we're gonna do that. I do feel like that's still very dark. I don't feel like I'll go in a little too thick on this side, but I need to move on. Stop. Okay, well, maybe it's, you know what, it might just be because it's wet. When it's wet, it's glistening and it's very noticeable, so I'm just gonna wait till it dries fully, and then that might be better. You couldn't do the knobbies. It's okay, Linda, don't worry. If you can't do the knobbies, because they're kind of weird, and like I think if they are off too much, it's gonna make it look strange. Just make it smooth. Your door does not have to have knobbies. It's all good. Or throw some vines on top of them. it's all good. It'll work out nicely regardless. I love that you guys are using knobbies now. That's great. that's kick-ass. Okay, cool. All right, so there's a few more things with the keyhole, a few more touches. So do we want to go, let me just think for a second. Okay, so I'll just talk through it and then we can go from there. So with this keyhole, there is a bit of an emphasis, that there is a bit of a black line that kind of, not around the entire thing, but it does emphasize that it makes it look more three-dimensional that way. So there's a bit of black that kind of comes around and to show that there is a three-dimensionality to this keyhole. So that's one thing we could do now. I kind of want to go and start doing some of the vines. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm just saying that out loud in case I do the vines and then I forget. So then you guys know. So let's start with the vines. So all my paint is like super dry. So I'm going to get my pre-mixed green. If you don't have pre-mixed green, you mix your yellow and your blue, and I checked the color and it's pretty much exactly like that one. That one's called Christmas green. So yeah. All right, so I'm just going to use that on my fine brush. Okay. Another way to like do things that are the same, you can literally cut out like circles on a page so you like them and like use it as a stencil. You can do stencils. That totally works too. A lot of people do that on their art. So if you want something to be very accurate, don't shy away from that. All right. Let us go here. Okay, so my vine is going to, oh, it's not flat back. I knew that was going to kind of fall. Okay, so I need my paint to have a little bit of water in it because it is not smooth enough for me to draw. So I'm going to put this vine about like so. Okay, it actually does kind of continue upwards. So it actually is going to go like that. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to get my green and I'm going to, so this leaf is like a bump and then another bump. And then it's going to come into a point. Almost like a heart. How pretty. Okay. And I'm definitely going to have to go over this paint once it's dried because it is not very opaque and I want it to be darker. Absolutely, I want it to be darker. Nice little green heart going on. How cute. Bye. See you next week. I'm glad you joined. This is taking a while. Again, no ill feelings if you guys have to drop off. But to those who are still joining, you guys are freaking rock stars. Because this is a lot of work. Alright. And then this one, we're going to have a nice bump. And that's going to come down. That's going to come around. Okay, I'll make it come around more, and then we're going to have it come down this way. Okay. Okay, so that's that one there. Cool. That's working out all right. You're like, is that too bright? Oh no, that just messed things up. Sorry. I was trying to get some more light in here, but that was not the right move to make. All right. Next up, we have another one that's kind of sticking. It's a little, whoop. Sorry, I had too much paint and too much water, so I have to get rid of it. Okay, this one's kind of sticking. It's a little point this way. Okay. There we go. So that's the base for those ones. They look pretty nice. Okay. And this style too, so this has It's highlighted a little bit with the yellow, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of yellow on my brush. I wanna highlight this vine a bit with the yellow, like so. Okay. And then there is a little bit, and then we have a lot of black that's going to outline and define it. But I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow, just to give it a little bit of highlight. And then I'm gonna go back in with it afterwards. I'm just gonna put a bit of yellow. On these parts here. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to get some black. Thank you, Jen. This has been a process, that's for sure. This takes a while. Okay, so I'm gonna get some black on my thin brush. Okay, put a little bit of water so it's a little bit easier to maneuver. And what are we doing with this black? Well, we are going to outline these a little bit. A little bit, a little bit. Oh, I'm scared because I don't want it to look dumb. This has like a little kind of cartoonish. Every time there's like a black lining, I always feel like it's very cartoon-like element to it. Okay, it does make it pop though. My goodness, does it ever? So I'm outlining the vine entirely. And then I'm just going to put in some details with the black a bit. Is gonna like come out in the vine a bit. Little vine details in the black. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. That makes it look neat. A little bit more on the tip there. I want you to come all the way off because I can see you there and it looks weird. Okay, cool. Ta-da! Those are some nice little leavies. Awesome. Okay, great. So 12 of you guys are amazing. Okay, cool. So we have those. What else are we gonna do here? So I'm also gonna put in like a little curly Q here, and I'm gonna put in one more vine here. I think at that point I might have to call it a quit because it's taking a little bit. I have to check in on my son who is by himself right now for the last 2 hours. He didn't want to join in today, and I don't blame him. But I think I might need to call it done, and then you can kind of take this idea and then redo the leaves on the other sides. So I'm going to do a curly Q. I kind of want it to be a little bit lighter, like a yellowy green. I have my pre-mixed green, mix it into my yellow a little bit, put a little bit of water, and we're going to do a little curly Q. So we're going to like start and try to be thin. Oh, it's not thin enough. Shoot. I want it to be like really easy, like you're painting it on, right? So you want enough water so it's smooth but not drippy. Oh, it's too much paint on my brush. Okay, I'm stressing out now. I want it to come up and curl down. I end up putting an L in it. Of course I do. Not intentionally, but I mean that works out kind of nicely. There you go. I challenge you guys, when you put your little curly Q, whatever your initial is, whatever your initial of your first name is, I challenge you to like hide it somewhere in your painting. I guess as long as you have like a curly letter, you'll be all right. There's my L. Boop. Almost two L's. There's my little curly Q kind of going on there. I think that works out nicely. Awesome. And then I'm just going to do one more vine up here, and then just for funsies, and then I need to call it quit for now. But then I will continue working on my painting, and I'll post it when it's all done. But the rest of it will pretty much be what we did with the leaves there. So I just put another little vein there. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow going on. I'm going to touch the top with the yellow. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with black. Black is so dry. Okay. Going with black. And just outline my little vein there. Okay. That does not look nearly as nice as the other one, but that's alright. Oh, I feel like my camera just tilted weirdly. There we go. Black. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, it looked a little bit weird. It was a little too dark. I just need to add a little bit of that in. Okay. Cool. Like I said, I did want to add a little bit of dimensionality to the keyhole, so let me just do that a little bit just so you can get an idea of what I mean by that. So I'm going to get my black, make it viscose, and then do it again, just kind of follow your line, not fully. You don't want it all, you want it just certain aspects of it. So just going in different spots of the keyhole. Just gonna put a little bit of black. And also at the bottom. I kind of messed up that line a bit. Okay, I need to fix it. I guess it'll just be thicker at the bottom. It is not straight. Okay, that's better. Okay, it's not perfect, but that's okay. So you can add a little bit of that, and then you can also go with the lighter color too, like a yellow. We're gonna yellow be brown, so it looks kind of like golden. And you can also put that in here too. And kind of alternate just kind of even doing it like not fully on the line, but even on one side too. Okay, cool. All right, so I think I'm gonna leave it at that for today because I really have to go pee. Too much information. But yeah, so there you go. So I hope you enjoyed it. So I have not finished it fully. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put more of these and a little of these curly cues. I'm gonna put more on this side and more on the bottom as well. So when I'm done doing that, I'll snap a picture of it and I'll put it in the comments so you guys can take a look, and I'll also put another post with it to show what we've done today. But that's what I'll do. It's the same process that I've done, what I did with those, so you can just go back in the video and take a look and then just do the same thing with that. And then that will pretty much be the video. If there's something else that I end up doing or touching up, I'll make a note of it as well. But I think we've pretty much covered it. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. It was a long session. We're at a 2.5 hour point right now. So yeah, so thanks again, guys. Please share your pictures. I'd love to see what your gardens look like and how you changed it up, and it would be fantastic. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Again, this is the way my painting is currently. Ta-da! Ba-da-da-da-da. Every Tuesday we'll have 3 more options, and again, the options I pick are just like random images that I really love online. Sometimes they're photos, sometimes they're paintings, and then what we'll do is you guys can choose whichever one we want to recreate, and then I will talk you through how I would go about recreating it, and you guys can share your best practices and share your paintings, and it's very fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye everyone.